I was interested in the concept of going out to speak to concerned or interested parties and giving my experience of the local authority, in my case, and Independent Living Fund.
I agreed to become a champion for LCiL because I felt it was time to challenge myself, and because it's such a good opportunity to promote what LCiL is about.
It's important to talk about my own experience because people are not going to learn, people are not going to know exactly where they're going wrong.
I am somebody who's been through the mincer, if you like. I know how demoralising it can be, how lonely it is.
In my old job, I went through a bad experience, and I had low self-esteem, and I wasn't myself. I wanted to help, help them have the right attitude.
Just stretching your hand out to get somebody that understands the process you're going through, I think is incredibly important.
So I believe talking's a great power for trying to get things changed.
I wanted other people to know the benefits of direct payments and how they have changed both my girls' lives and my own life.
I wanted to help as much as I could, so I saw this opportunity and thought that it would be a really good way to help. I also thought that it would be a really good way to use my experiences to help other people, help inform policy.
It's important for other people who need support in their lives to see how it works for other people, give people a good idea of what's possible for them.
We are a disabled people organisation, so really we need to work with disabled people, not just for our services, but also in order to know what they want from the organisation, what needs to change for disabled people.
We needed champions for a really practical reason. We kept having people come and ask us for people to talk from their lived experience, and then we'd be casting around trying to find someone, so we decided we needed to get a bit more proactive. But also we wanted a group of people who would be knitted into the fabric of the organisation and who could help us do all sorts of things. The way we recruited the champions was to get the staff team who have contact with our service users together and say, who do you think would be good at this? Who do you think would be interested? We wanted to make sure that we'd got as diverse a group as we could. So we wanted some people who were service users, some who were carers. We wanted people who used direct payments, some who got direct service, so that they could go out and talk from a variety of lived experience.
We didn't have a very clear, vision of what they would achieve. And actually, they've achieved 10 times more than what we were expecting.
As we were recruiting people, the initial information, the conversations that I had with them, what they got sent, explained the whole thing to them, so they knew what they were committing to. They knew they were going to have to do some work between training sessions. But we also said there's some choice in here in terms of how many events you commit to.
The champions wouldn't exist if we didn't have put a lot of attention to it, and if we didn't have a coordinator, Debbie, to not to look after it, but to nurture it.
There was some really simple stuff, like enough money for transport and enough money to be able to hire a PA when they're being trained and things like that. Without those things, volunteers don't have a good experience, and then if they're not having a good experience, they drift away, and the next thing you know, you've got 2 people left and it's not working.
Out of the training, I learnt so much. I didn't know a lot about disabled people's rights, equality, just how other people find life. Some find it easy, some find it really, really difficult. Personally, I found it very, very difficult. Knowing what my rights are and then fighting for them, I've now got the support package I needed. and I can go on to help other people.
I got a sense of enlightenment about subjects that I touched on before in various LCiL courses when I was younger, but obviously not in as great a detail.
It was just a really very good experience and gave us the confidence, I think, to go out and do these champion talks.
To design the training, I had some help from Chest, Heart and Stroke Scotland, because they have self-management champions, and they very kindly share all their training materials openly, and they also ran some training for people who were thinking about setting up champions programs. One of the principles that we work to here is that if we're training disabled people, then we always use disabled trainers as well. So I co-trained on all the training sessions. There were 6 sessions with a disabled person as a co-trainer.
I was so impressed. It's unbelievable. I've been involved in training rather for umpteen years now, and delivering different training programs to different people from all walks of life. This was one of the most enthusiastic bunch of people that I've ever come across. I was impressed by the diversity of the people, but just the sheer enthusiasm overwhelmed me.
What basically makes it all work is the simple stuff. What Debbie does is, as I say, act as the glue that holds the whole thing together.
I think one of the important things that Debbie does is make sure that everybody gets the input, and I think most importantly she makes us all feel like we're doing something good, so she motivates us.
The champion wouldn't exist if we didn't have put a lot of attention to it, and if we didn't have a coordinator, Debbie.
I'm the person that's got the big overview, so I'm the one that knows what everyone's doing. I know which champion's going where. I'm also the one that decides who goes where, because I know all of them well, and I kind of coordinate making sure that buddies are preparing them, but I'm often the person who's engaging out there with local authorities or whoever we're sending the champions to. I'm also the person who facilitates their regular meetings.
I'm supported as a champion by my buddy Omar, who's also an independent living officer. I have regular meetings with him to sort out exactly what we're going to say, put it into some kind of format that makes sense to other people.
The champions, they are the kind of face of LCiL. They're going out and about, they're talking about their own experiences, and I think it's really important that they have a connection to LCiL and feel that they are part of the organisation.
Because there's a real risk that if you set up a volunteer programme and people go out and they give talks or they get involved with committees, that nothing comes back, so they end up with the information, the organisation doesn't get it.
My role as a buddy is really to act as a kind of sounding board, I suppose, and for us to try and work together to see if we can kind of make a difference, not just to their lives, but to the lives of others as well.
It's important to prepare before events so that you're actually talking about the issue in hand, to make sure that your knowledge is up to date and you know exactly what points you want to raise, because usually you're on a limited time.
Kirsty, who's my buddy, she is great. I just feel that Kirsty is more of a friend now than, shall we say, a work colleague.
You may actually attend an event with your champion and go along with them and be there on the day to give them that kind of moral support.
I'm always on the lookout for what's happening, what themes are coming back when people come back from events, things they're telling me, and then I'll create extra bits of training so that either there's a gap or there's something new coming that people need to know about.
We meet regularly to prepare for events and also after the event to discuss how it went, because we're all different and we all have confidence in certain things and not in others, and that's invaluable to me.
It's refreshing to see people listening and acknowledging what the champions are actually doing. And that's what came across in the last 2 occasions I was out with Robert, that people were actually listening and they are making a difference.
The Champions project has brought quite a unique twist and to quite a well-established organisation.
We practice what we preach. We have users of our services who are genuinely involved.
What Champion did is spoke about their personal experience, and they put a story, a very powerful and strong story behind the values and principles and objectives of LCiL. So it's a priceless contribution that they made, I feel.
It's also helped us focus on how we might improve our services in future by listening to the views of our champions and seeing where there are gaps in our service and how those could be improved upon in future.
You get a feeling in the room when you come to a champions meeting that, to coin a phrase, we're all in this together. You know, there's that camaraderie.
Most of us have become more than just fellow champions and become friends. And it's a great exercise, and I think everybody gets a lift from each other.
There is a trusting companionship there. I would not have a problem turning round to any of them and asking for their help if I felt that they could give it.
It's really good because the guys that I'm on Champions with are just they're my friends as well.
I think the biggest unexpected outcome is how strong a peer support group that the champions have formed. I mean, I've been training groups of people for more than 20 years, and this is the most energised, excited group I've ever worked with.
Responses from the champions meeting has been really great so far, and from what I hear from all the champions is that it gives them an opportunity to gain strength from shared experiences, talk about difficulties. It's enhanced the team spirit, and that's what my feeling has been as well as other colleagues who has been buddies. So it's a great opportunity for us buddies and champion to participate as a team, as a group.
The champions is a great example of peer support. Just being there for each other really, and speaking about things that you maybe wouldn't be able to speak about with just anybody.
I think hearing the champions' stories has confirmed our reasons for why we involved people, the LCiL Champions, in our training in the first place. Because I think the sense that we've had from people is that hearing people's own experience has had an impact and has stayed in the mind. And I think it's been very good for staff who have their own anxieties at the moment about how are they going to give information about self-directed support to people, to also remember that the people receiving the information, you know, this is a new thing for many of them as well, and so just having a conversation with people and being aware of each other's perspectives, and I think having the champions involved has helped with that.
Some time ago I went to speak to a group of service managers who deal with older people. It was a really, really good experience.
The managers were keen for somebody like Robert to be involved in our induction training programme. One manager said that it was the best 2 hours she'd spent in a long time.
And you can see the people that he's actually out meeting, taking things in and seeing how professional and well put over it is, because he's always well prepared, and it's a great experience just to see him get his message across, and it's great seeing people listening.
They really took on board what I had to say. We got a very good feedback. The whole setup was excellent.
Robert is the expert in his own life, and he's also the expert in living with his long-term condition. And that's an incredibly powerful thing to bring into a room of people who work in a public service.
Debbie and I went along to planning meetings, worked out just how that could be done, and then I went along and did 3 separate inputs all into Module 1 on the social model of disability and how that fitted into my life.
It was good that we were able to involve Debbie and Emma in the working group that we set up to plan the learning and development sessions. So they were able to come along to those meetings and to input, to really give their ideas of what would be useful to include in the sessions.
Actually, the people that we're going to talk to, them responding in such a positive way, I didn't expect that. I thought maybe there'll be a bit kind of positional, and you do get a bit of that. It's never going to be completely, oh yes, we love what you've said, great.
I think it was invaluable really to hear Emma's perspective on the training and what she felt she could bring to that.
Sometimes in organisations we get hung up on our own internal issues and we focus on our own internal processes. But actually that's much less important than making sure that people get what they need from us. And one of the benefits of having a champion in the discussion is that it helps you to keep the focus. Helps you to keep the focus on the person and what they need rather than what the organisation needs.
I now can't imagine LCiL without the champions. It was very much added on to what was already there, but I now can't imagine it not being there. It would be too much a loss now, I think. I think it would there'd be this hole.
We as a champion, as an organisation, we've grown up. And I think there is no way back now. We have this extra dimension in the organisation.
We'd be poorer without them now, and we'd cut off a source of information. And also from their point of view, because we've started a development process with them, and to stop that would be really, really unfair.
What would really sadden me a huge amount is just for it to disperse, be like sand in your hands. There was a huge amount there, but you know what it's like, it suddenly a bit falls out and stuff, and then you're at a stage where it's all gone.
I hope the champions as a group will stay. I hope we get funding, fingers crossed.
My hope for the champions in the future is that we continue to have great success, which by any measure is happening just now, and to grow in number and to be in great demand.
What I would personally like to see would be the current champions at some stage moving on, still doing the same work, but possibly involved in the training of the next round of champions.
We would anticipate that we would be coming back to certainly LCiL and the LCiL Champions programmes to see what other initiatives we can work on together as we take SDS forward locally.
I hope we carry on working with local authorities and other organisations, and I think I've got a really big hope that we start doing that, not because it's a policy thrust, not because someone in the Scottish Government has said this is the way we want you to work, but because it really works and because it makes everyone's life and the information they get richer and deeper and better.
We can do more, be recognised for what we can actually do to help people, to help train those that help us, to change policies. Hopefully we can encourage other people to become champions either here in LCiL or in different areas.
I think it's the people, the friends. I class them very much as friends. I look forward to any of our champions meetings. Nothing quite beats speaking to your peer group.
Because I go to church and stuff, it's basically like I'm not giving my testimony as a Christian, but I'm giving my testimony as a champion.
One of the best things about being a champion is meeting lots of other great champions. We're a really mixed bunch of people with all sorts of different life experience.
the opportunity to actually use your experiences in a positive way is probably the best thing. But the banter's definitely a close second.
The best things about being a champion is the learning, the inspiration. Leave a champions meeting and you feel very empowered and enlightened, and we just all have a fabulous time together.
And it makes me feel good because I know I've been through a lot of problems in my own personal life, but it makes me feel good because I have my own voice kind of thing. I can say, right, I'm independent, I have the right attitude.
If I could give one piece of advice to somebody thinking of becoming a champion, I would say expect the unexpected.
Come along, speak to everybody, get involved. It is so worthwhile.
The satisfaction you'll get as an individual will be good, and you'll be giving yourself as well as disabled people a voice.
The easiest thing to say is do it. It's so worthwhile and you benefit so much from it.
Most definitely go for it. I'm not the most confident person, but my confidence has increased really quite a lot, and I've definitely benefited from it.
What advice? What advice I would give them is, I would say I'd advise them to come along to LCiL.
Let's tell
it
like
it
is.